Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I say good evening, but we could have people joining us from other parts of the world. So I say good day, hello, good morning, good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here with you today and to be your panel moderator. So I have an exciting event here for you this evening. We're going to be hearing from our panelists. Our panelists tonight, I will call upon to introduce themselves. I'll just introduce their names for now, and then I'll call upon them in turn so you can get to know a little bit more about them. We have Elizabeth Jordan, who is our Pathways mentor. We have our Vice President of Education, Angela Spriggs, and we also have a mentee, Rathesh. They've all played different parts within the mentoring role in a Toastmasters capacity, so they have a raft of experiences to share with us this evening. So let's hear from Elizabeth Jordan. Please introduce yourselves and let us know a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, Madam PQD, host, guest and fellow Toastmasters. I'm Elizabeth Jordan. I'm a member of Hertfordshire Speakers, and together with my three colleagues, we will be sharing the experience of mentoring in our club. Our club is 25 years old in March, so we'll be celebrating this in grand style. And we believe that the reason for our longevity, our success, is because we have embedded mentoring as part of our culture. I've been a member of the club for 11 years, and over all those years, we've had mentoring of some kind. Sometimes it's very systematic, sometimes it's very situational, sometimes it's very flexible, but whatever mode it takes, we always have some kind of mentoring. So tonight, I'm delighted to tell you about my role as a mentor, not only a mentor, I'm also a Pathways mentor. And the reason I'm proud to be here is I have been mentored, and now I am mentoring, and I'm happy to share my experience and that of my club with you. Thank you, Madam Host.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So let's hear a little from Hertfordshire Speakers, Angela Spriggs. She's the Vice President of Education there. So please tell us a little bit about your role.
Thank you, Sue. So I'm the VPE of Hertfordshire Speakers for this past year, and so my role is really to organise the programme of mentoring in the club and keep an eye on who's got a mentor, who's not, and also see that the members of the club are being brought on and mentored. I've been a member of the club for about 3 years, and I have been, again, both a mentor and a mentee, and I'm still a mentor and a mentee. I think in our club, we'll say more about how it works, but it's very much an ongoing process. We don't look at it as a finite formal role. It is something where we can actually give very personalised support to people and informal support as well as the formal process, but I can talk more about that in due course.
Okay, well, thank you, Angela. That's really useful to know, and we'll be hearing more from you later. We can have a bit more of a deep dive in. And let's hear a little from our mentee, Rathesh. So please share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Moderator, and thank you, distinguished panel, and the fellow Toastmasters here. Thank you very much. So I joined Hertfordshire Speakers Club in 2020, January. So it's just been 2 years since I've completed or still continuing my journey with Hertfordshire Speakers. And when I joined Hertfordshire Speakers, we already had a formal mentoring program. And as soon as I joined, I was assigned a mentor, and happy to say that my mentor is here today. I'm sharing a stage with her. Elizabeth is my mentor. And by far, it's been one of the most rewarding experience, I must say. And it really helped me from the perspective of launching my journey in Toastmasters. Firstly, you can imagine a club which has completed 25 years would have masters in their craft of public speaking. So it was quite an overwhelming experience for me, and I'm sure it is the same for anyone who joined new to the club. So firstly, I really was felt valued among the people who are masters in the craft, like I was telling. So I'm still being mentored, and like I said, it's been one of the most rewarding experience that I could get from the club. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Rathesh. It's been lovely to hear from you, and that was amazing. And I understand that there's a level 2 project, Elizabeth, where we can share part of our mentee journey. So perhaps that's something you can share something about a little bit later, Elizabeth, or maybe now. It could be a good time to share a little bit about that particular project.
Yes, there's a project and there's a separate assignment. So the project is speech number 3 in level 2, which is all about when you were the time when you were a protege. So you talk about mentoring through the lens of having been mentored. And this project appears in all of the 11 paths. People very often complain about it. Why do we have to keep repeating these? But I have to say, I found it a huge blessing, because I've had to really dig deep, and it's really made me think of the people who have mentored me. And that has included teachers, family, friends, Toastmasters, all have helped me to become who I am today through mentoring. It's a very simple project, 5 to 7 minute speech, and you talk about when you were mentored. I think the most significantly, the reason I've got PMP before my name is because I've done the Pathways Mentoring Project, which is a separate parallel option after you finish level 2. And I would really recommend it to anyone who hasn't yet done it, because when you do that project, you do really become a fully fledged mentor. And it has 3 stages to it. Number 1 is basically how should I describe it? You have to go through a questionnaire about your motives for wanting to be a mentor. And you do that and you lodge that with your VPE. Number 2, it gets very interesting. You start mentoring someone, and usually the VPE will assign you someone to mentor. And that's a short-term mentoring. I did mine for 1 month, and I mentored a member of the club through their icebreaker, and then explaining pathways to them. The third in the series is where it really comes into its own. It's a 6-month project in which you mentor someone for 6 months. And believe you me, this is fantastic, because you really get a chance to do it well, to put mentoring into practice. And in this case, I was mentoring a final year, actually, philosophy student who needed mentoring. So I didn't do it, I worked as VPE, but I didn't do it in the club. So I would say, if you haven't yet done that after level 2, it automatically comes into your inbox. I would really recommend that you do that. So just to cut this short, to say, we all get a chance to talk about mentoring in level 2, but we then have an extra option to do a mentoring course through the Pathways Mentoring Program. Back to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That sounds really exciting, and certainly something we can get our teeth into. And this will help us to help our members even more. So let's just pause with the panel for a moment, because I'd like to hear a little bit from the audience to see who here is involved in mentoring in any capacity within the club. So you can either put your hand up or put me in the chat box if you'd like to, or show your icon, your emoji.
Madam Moderator, sorry, Madam Moderator, I think the Zoom Master has a poll that we haven't yet done.
Oh, let's launch the poll. That would be exciting. Let's do that right now. Zoom Master, please can you launch our poll for the audience to keep them engaged and on their toes?
There you go.
Here we go. So if we can just pop our answers in the boxes here. Three simple questions.
You want the percentages or?
Yes, please. Let's see. Question number 1. If you just read the question out and then, well, yeah, just go through them so we can understand where the audience is at the moment.
Do you belong to a club that has a mentoring program in place? You've got yes or no. And 81% of the audience have said yes, 90% have said no.
Okay, that's great.
The second question, are you currently acting as a mentor in your club? And we have 54% saying yes and 46% saying no. Are you a mentee protege in your club? We have 50% saying yes and 50% saying no.
That's great. So thanks for the feedback on that. So that's perhaps something that could change as a result of tonight's panel and questions. So I will be inviting the audience to ask some more questions later. So let's go back to our panel now. And I'm going to understand a little bit more from Ratesh, because you were telling us your story about being a mentee, which was wonderful. And can you tell me how that has helped you on your Pathways journey?
Sure. So, like I said before, as soon as I was in the club, a mentor was assigned to me, and the next thing that we did was engaging in a conversation to understand what my recommended path would be in Pathways. I'm pretty sure everybody is clear about what Pathways is. It's basically a learning platform that help you to build unique competencies. So Elizabeth and I had a conversation to understand where my strengths are, what kind of program could be the most suitable one for me. And she had suggested to take up the presentation mastery, that is taking into consideration of my corporate life, and also one of the areas that I wanted to improve. And considering all of that, she has suggested presentation mastery as a pathway for me. And if I were to do it myself without a mentor, I would have chosen the same pathway. So I think there was a clear alignment of a mind in choosing the right pathway for me. I still remember the inputs that Elspeth had given me in terms of the rule of 3, or usage of languages, usage of literary devices, and how to engage with audience through body language, how to open the speech, how to conclude the speech, what is the importance of call to action after speech. I would have not known any of this if I was not mentored by someone who's got tremendous experience in public speaking and writing the speech. So I've been tremendously, benefited by being a part of the Pathway Mentoring Program. Not just that speech part, but also from the perspective of evaluation and some of the other roles that I would take, which I was encouraged to take, which really helped me to progress towards my goal in Pathway. So that's those are two things that I think it's extremely valuable. And definitely the third most important thing is the feedback system, which is a part of the whole mentoring and Pathway program. Once we get the right feedback, the mentor would act as a devil's advocate and also a truth sayer at the same time. So it's sort of a rare combination to get it right, to sort of motivate people, motivate the mentee. And I was fortunate to get that kind of a guidance from my mentor. These are some of the things that I would have never received on any other platform apart from being a part of Toastmasters. Thank you.
And that's wonderful. And while you're there, Rathesh, can I just ask you, what qualities would you say would be really helpful in a mentor? What qualities would you look for?
Yeah, first of all, I didn't get to choose my mentor. So, so this mentor was assigned to me, and I was fortunate to get the mentor that I got. In fact, the club has got so much of wealth and depth in knowledge and experience. So I would probably get those kind of a feedback from everyone in the club. I think the qualities that I look in mentor is definitely the feedback itself, being able to give the right feedback and that mentees want to hear, that would encourage them to move forward. That is definitely one thing. And second thing is to really push the mentee to go out of the comfort zone and take that risk and do things that they've not done before. Like I've not done panel discussion before, ever. So my mentor called me and said, you have to do this panel discussion tomorrow. And I'm here doing the panel discussion. So I think those are the kind of things that I would look as qualities in a mentor. And definitely the culture and the norms is already there with every other members of the Toastmasters. So getting you to sort of involved in that environment is a very, very important task the mentor could perform, and that's another thing that which is not quantifiable, it's not tangible, but that's one of the things that you actually get from Toastmasters, the ability to be able to mix and work as a team in a club situation, in any culture.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it, like you say, it's really important that a mentor can assist you in helping you to not only participate in the speaking roles, but also the leadership roles as well.
Yeah.
And you stepping into this role today, you've stepped out of your zone of comfort, and this is where the growth starts to happen. So it sounds like you've gotten a really amazing mentor in your club. So I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
Now, let's hear a little bit more from Angela, because she's sitting there quietly in the background. And I know she's been instrumental in helping your club develop a program within the club for mentoring. So would you like to tell us your story about setting up the mentorship program within Heart Speakers?
Right, yes, thank you. I don't think I could claim to actually setting it up, because we've had a very good process and it precedes me. But in terms of sort of taking the mantle over, I was very keen to make sure that when I took the role of VPE on, that we've had a lot of new members who have come on, so I just made sure that they have had a mentor. And the things that we're looking for in our particular club is that the needs that people come with are very particular, it's very specific at times. So we make sure we're looking for mentors that could fit their particular roles. So for instance, we had somebody who came in and was wanting to do a keynote speech, out in their wider world. So we made sure that we had a mentor that would have the ability to break that keynote speech down so that they could use that speech to get through their level 1, and has gained an awful lot of confidence, and you could see the improvement as they went through that. We've got other people who are wanting to get introduced and gain their experience more generally. So we're looking for somebody who is just able to support them and thinking about the specific needs. So for instance, I've got a mentee who really wanted somebody to be able to push them to get through the stages, because otherwise they needed somebody behind them just to say, you are going to speak, what are you going to do, and those kind of things. So I'm listening very much to what people want and what they need to be able to give the mentor, and sort of have flexibility as well. So be thinking about when people are going through the finished level 1, to be able to think about whether they can start mentoring people themselves so that they can get that development as well. So so it's really having that flexibility, but also being informal in our process as well. We very much have, I mean, I know that in the background we've had mentors who have really helped people in projects that they've been doing elsewhere. I personally last year, I mean, this is what I inherited, was mentored to do I entered the competition this time last year. So, and very much had that. And actually, I think that doing that competition and actually doing the mentoring project, I began to realise how I'd appreciated mentoring and what that meant to me. And then the competition. And I have to say that process, I don't think I'd be VP, I don't think I'd be involved. It was a turning point. So I think it's making sure that we have that, being able to make sure that I can offer that experience to everybody in the club. So
yeah, that's fabulous. So it's great that you listen to what your members want, and then you match them with someone that has an experience of that particular aspect that they're looking to improve.
That's right, yes.
So how would you say you could use mentoring to help attract and retain members within your club?
That's a very good question. I think in terms of retaining members, it's very much, I think it's part of that process of making sure that you match the mentor and the mentee, and once you get them through those hurdles, to be able to because I think if people have a very positive relationship with their mentor and their mentee, they're obviously more likely to stay on in the club. And so and also in terms of attracting, I think one of the really significant, I mean, one of the really significant ways is mentoring is very, very applicable in the outside world, obviously in the world. I mean, I think a lot of people, when they do their speeches, often on mentoring, often bring their experiences from outside Toastmasters. And I think for attracting, it is a really good selling point when we have those extra meetings, when we're bringing people in for open days and things like that, to be able to have something on mentoring and say, actually, this is relevant to your everyday life as well. And I know that we've had mentoring speeches on evenings where we've had new members, so they've been able to see that speech and how people have developed through that.
Mm-hmm. That's really useful to know, and it's really good that you can help others in that capacity. And how would you say it helps, the mentoring program helps the adoption of pathways in your club?
Oh, I have to answer this.
Oh, okay, let's go to Elizabeth for this one. It's her baby.
I have to take this because, you know, I'm a pathways enthusiast, and I'm also the club's pathways mentor stroke champion. I think the way it helps it is because as I said, we've got this mentoring culture embedded. We've also got a culture of success embedded. So when we do our club success plan at the beginning of the year, we are planning to be President's Distinguished. We're not planning anything less than that. And in that, we also write in, we want to be 100% pathways adoption. So part of having a mentor is making sure when people come in, because we're bringing them into the system, we're mentoring them, they're adopting it. If we've got any skeptics from the, from old who love the old, we're happy that they love the traditional, but we also want to get them enthused about the new way. So mentoring is our way to help new members, old established members to adopt what is, after all, the Toastmasters program. It is not perfect, but it has some really good redeeming features. So I would say, mentoring is all about helping us to embed it in the culture. And I must say this, my favorite quote for mentoring is one by John Crosby, a 19th century American politician. He said, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction, which is effectively opportunity. And I think if you have those three things in mentoring, I think your club is very, very likely to succeed. And I know, so that's my bit. We've got this wonderful audience. You've got to whip them up to ask us some questions. We don't want to be answering questions all night. The reason we came as a panel, we want to answer your questions. So please, please, please ask us some questions.
I'm going to ask you another question now, Elizabeth, before we get our audience involved. I'm going to get them involved in just a moment. But before we do that, I want you to tell the audience what exciting incentive we have from district for people that take up the mentorship program. Am I putting you on the spot? Shall I get Brenda to do it?
You put me on the spot because I have an incentive, but it's for mentoring clubs.
I'm going to
tonight we're talking about mentoring people, not this. My incentive is mentoring new clubs, newly chartered clubs. But as I said, tonight we're here to talk about mentoring individuals within the club. So I don't have any incentives for that. I don't know if, I think Madam PQD may have.
Yes, I'm going to go to, and you're absolutely right to bring that topic up, Elizabeth, because we as experienced members can mentor a club as well. That's going beyond the regular club environment. And I know at Cornerstone we have two members mentoring Toastmasters in Travel, which is a recently chartered club. And I know I can see we have one of the members in the audience. So I did earlier, I saw Enrique there. So he's joined us this evening. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm going to go to Brenda for that incentive to just share with the audience what that incentive is.
Thanks very much, Madam Panel Moderator. The incentive is for those members who achieve the Pathways Mentoring Programme, which is available to all members after they've completed level 2. And they will be recognised, they will receive an incentive from me, but they'll also be recognised at the next awards ceremony, which will be in April. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Brenda, for sharing that with us. Now, Elizabeth, before I go to my next question, would you be able to repeat that quote again? I've just had an ask the audience to repeat that quote that you gave us.
Mary Manning, Division A Director, has very kindly put it in the chat.
Oh, that's lovely.
In the chat for all to see and do. Okay. I think the questions have started coming in.
They have. So let's see what we've got here. I will open this question up to the audience, and any of our panelists can answer the question. What sort of mindset should we have to become a mentor?
I mean, I think we can all answer that, but I'll give you my thought. I think to be a mentor, you have to want to give back. To me, we have core values of, integrity, respect, service, and excellence. This to me is the service and excellence piece. You're not just speaking service, you're living service by giving back. I also think, and I really fundamentally believe this, when I mentor someone, I am learning as much from them as they are learning from me. I'm talking to Ratish. Yes, there are things that I know more about Toastmasters than he does, but he knows so much more. As some of the books he has read that he's shared with me, articles he's read and so on, has helped me immeasurably. So I think I see it's very much a two-way thing. That's my 2 pence worth.
Yes, I can understand that. We do learn from each other. And I like to think that the world is my teacher, not just the world, the universe and everyone within it. And I've just been asked by the audience how, if there isn't someone within the club that could mentor you, because you've got a certain skill you want to adopt, can you gain a mentor from another source? So perhaps another club or another, well, how many clubs have we got in the UK? There are many clubs, so I'm sure
we've got 203 paid clubs in the thing. And I don't want to hog this, I just want to say it very quickly. You can have mentors from outside the club. I mean, I am being mentored myself. I've got mentors on about 3 continents, which gives me completely different perspectives. I've also got a mentor in my club. So you can have, and I've got a mentor at work. I work in the corporate world. So you can have different mentors helping you in different ways. So there's no, if you can't find them in your club, talk to your area director, talk to your division director, talk to your Madam PQD, and so on. Okay, that's just only my perspective. I'm sure Angela and Ratish have really got something to say. And Jaspreet has got her hand up.
Yes, I just saw the hand go.
Yeah,
let's get to Ratish.
Yeah, sure. So just on the question of being mentored outside the club, there are ways you can get mentored, but some of them are not the most pocket-friendly options. You get life coaches, you get executive coaches that you can depend on. Some of them are available online. Some of them are able to provide you as a group, so the price will be slightly cheaper. So you won't again get to choose the mentor, but if you join that group, someone from that group would actually mentor you. Maybe someone who's not very experienced in mentoring, and the price ranges based on that. But then if you can get someone from Toastmasters, not necessarily from your club, but club outside in your area, then that's probably the best thing that you can get. And like Elizabeth said, you can always look for mentors at work, and you will be assigned a mentor when you join a company new. So yeah, that's from me.
Fabulous, thank you for that. And we do have members from Ireland as well that can be your mentors. They're part of our District 71 family. And of course, there's the Toastmasters worldwide as well. Now, I saw Jaspreet's hand go up. So Jaspreet, do you have a question you'd like to ask the audience or our panelists?
Thank you, Madam Moderator and other panelists. I would like to answer actually the question which was asked about a mentor outside a club. So I was actually part of the court on 5th of February, and part of that court, it was mentioned that we have an Odyssey project where a mentee or a mentor can be a part of, and you can select a mentor from outside the UK. So your mentor could be from any part of the country. So it's not just within your club or within the district. You can be part of a mentor-mentee relationship, even outside anyone in the world. So this is the Odyssey project, and you can enroll into it. There is a website link which was given to us, and maybe this is the one I can share with you, Sue, and you can probably distribute it. So this is a facility that is available for anyone to enjoy their mentor and mentee relationships, and learn a lot from different parts of the world. So I will share this information. I was excited because I wanted to be a part of it. I haven't enrolled it myself, But I think it's a new thing to learn about because you have different perspective from people from different backgrounds.
Yes.
So that's all I was going to add to that question. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Jaspreet.
You're welcome.
That's lovely. Now, I thought I saw another question here, so I'm going to just see if I can just find the question I was looking for. Yes, I've had a question here from one of our audience members about resources, and I'm not 100% sure whether this person is involved or how involved they are in mentorship, but they're asking, are there any resources available online to help one be a good mentor?
How can I answer that? Yeah, there's a lot of resources available. On the Toastmasters International website, there are articles, presentations and so on mentoring. On YouTube, there are many Toastmasters videos and so on. So there's really a lot of information on there. What I can do, if you leave your, I can send the information to Danny Banks, our bureau manager, and who can distribute it later. So I will do that. I'll share resources.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now I'm going to just go back to Ratish, if I may. And I know that you've been in Toastmasters a while now. And I know Angela's looking for people to help her with new members coming in the club. And I wondered how you might feel about perhaps, because you're going to know a bit more than some of them. How would you feel about becoming a mentor, if not now, maybe in a while?
So two things that comes to my mind, I think Elizabeth has already told, which was again something that I thought I would say if this question gets asked, which is it's a two-way street for me. You are learning from the mentee as much as you are, imparting learning to someone else. So that's a big plus for me. And then obviously, I was helped by a lot of people when I become successful in Toastmasters. I'm pretty sure if I turn back and see, there would be many mentors who would have helped me throughout that success, right? So I'm pretty sure that's something that I would want to give back to people who are coming. And, as, Michelangelo said, some of his arts are already lying in the stone. All he was doing was he was just revealing that art to people. So there are people with all the skills in them. It's just that they wanted someone else to tell them that, hey, this is something that you could do, So that, I think that's a very humbling, very noble, and very satisfying thing to do for me personally. So I would definitely consider being a mentor for someone else at some point of time when I think I'm ready.
Thank you. It's always a humbling experience to be able to share something with a fellow Toastmaster. And I know that every club has a wealth of knowledge and experience that's held within it. And of course, you have others that come to your club that might have had an experience that perhaps the club member might have that they could share, because no one arrives with knowing absolutely nothing. And I'm sure Angela will have seen different people within her club. So I'm going to go to Angela now, because she's been a little bit quiet, and I think it's time to bring her back on stage. So Angela, can you explain to me what makes a mentor successful and effective?
Yes, I think there's a lot of qualities. I think the first is probably obviously a real interest in bringing the person on that they're speaking to, and actually looking at it from their perspective, exactly what they want to get out of it. And also being able to, I think one of the things is being available as well, because I think it is part of this giving service that Elizabeth was talking about. Sometimes you can get a message with the best will in the world. People have their speeches ready the night before. So it means you being available the night before to listen to the speeches and go through them, and yes, patience, and being available for the long haul, I think, as well. So to sort of if it's a longer term relationship, I think that, I mean, I think there's so many qualities in terms of what makes it successful, and I think but I also think sort of honesty as well, because I think it's knowing what the scope of the relationship is. So, for instance, there may come a time that it works for a particular period of time, and then you might be looking for different qualities from the mentor. So having that openness of integrity to be able to negotiate those relationships as well. And sort of having clarity about what's needed from you know, what the goals are and things like that, and knowing when they've been met and when to stop meeting them. So. Yes,
because a mentor-mentee relationship can be, as you said, it can be short, it can be long, and there's different needs that people might need within that particular relationship. And how do you embed mentoring into your club so that it carries on when the committee changes?
So, well, I think it's the fact that we've got this process in mind, in place, and an established method, so that you know that. So I'm thinking of when I inherited it, but I also think making sure that it is established and everybody knows that they have a mentor. It's taken as read that mentorship relationship is there. You know, if you have a culture and you have people who know that they have benefited from mentoring, then they are going to step up and be mentoring at the mentor, as we've heard from Ratish, and you took the question right out of my mind when out of me when you're asking him whether he was prepared to be a mentor. But yes, I think it is. Yes, it's embedded in that culture, basically. So that's.
Can I add, Angela, also, because we make it a thing to do our club success plan. Yeah. So, you know, we write that in there, and as Angela said, because it's something we do, people who come in inherit that culture. You've got to keep it going. So we write it down, we do it, and we keep our eyes on the feel of our club. We are people developing, because if they don't develop it, they're going to leave. And it's like having conversations with our VPE, you know, and see how people are coming on, that we realize that this is it's like how we do things at Hertfordshire Speakers. That's why we call it our culture. So write it down, do your club success plan, make sure when your new people come, they're automatically given a mentor, and see how people are progressing. And we have a big thing about celebrating at our club. We celebrate everything. You do your icebreaker, your level 1, your level 2, your level 3, 4, 5. We've got our little pretty certificates, and we're celebrating it. And I think that really also adds to this feeling that, you know, things are working, things are good. It's a good feeling.
And while I've got you there, Elizabeth, I'd like you to explain the difference between mentoring and coaching, because that's another aspect that we have.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm going to give you my version, but I would urge you to go and look on Google, because there are lots of different interpretations. My thoughts are that mentoring sometimes drifts into coaching. I see mentoring as a more sort of strategic, long-term, holistic approach when you're trying to help the person beyond a mere task. I see coaching as more tactical and task focused. So for example, I'm going to be in a contest and I want to win the contest, and someone's helping me, but they're helping me for a short time to do that task. When I'm mentoring Ratish and although we're doing pathways, I'm not only thinking he's doing a speech next week, I'm thinking it'd be really good for him to finish his level 5 by XYZ. Is he ready to do a role on the committee? Is he ready to come? Do I know him well enough to ask him the night before to come on and do a panel? So you're thinking of the person in more developmental terms. And I think that's the difference. One's tactical, one's more strategic, and one's looking at a bigger picture, seeking opportunities rather than helping them do something very narrow. I think a mentor does coaching. I don't think a coaching necessarily does mentoring. So that's my explanation of it. That's how I see it. But I'm sure there are other explanations that are better or what have you. My thoughts on that.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. That's interesting to know. And of course, there's going to be different ways of looking at things and how people might see them. But it's good to know that there is a difference. Now, do we have any more questions from our lovely audience? Let's see if we've got any hands that are going to go up. Yes, we have. Moirad.
I have more of a comment than a question. I think what's very, very important in the mentor-mentee relationship is that sense of belonging. And I think it's one huge step for each mentor to take in including the mentee. So we'll say if we're actually in a room, in our club, we have tea and coffee and biscuits at our short break in the middle of the meeting, and to, you know, walk over and include the mentee and introduce them to other members. So there's a feeling, a sense of us, not me and them. And I think if you see any club, be it Toastmasters or any other group, a clique developing can often be the death of that group. Because suddenly there's, you know, the cool kids and there's the newcomer. So I think to make the mentee feel you're one of us now, and I too was once the nervous speaker that you are now, and you have great qualities that you don't know about, and we're going to show you that through our evaluating and going to help you improve through our mentoring, then that person will stay a member for longer, they will be a happier member, and the club will continue to thrive. That's my little comment.
And thank you, Moirad.
That's beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
And can I just give the other side of that? Not the other side, but a different perspective on that as well, because you've given a face-to-face view, which is absolutely excellent. But also, I think most of my mentoring experience and those of our club in the last 2 years has been in the virtual world, obviously, and we are still there. And I think probably the thing that the mentor has done over and above everything else that we've said, we've having those personal relationships, we've paired people up so that they're having those contacts outside the club, and it's often by Zoom. And so it makes sure that people have a link that is over and beyond just coming to that meeting and going away and never hearing from another member for the next 2 weeks or whatever. So I don't think we can overestimate that as the additional benefit of mentoring in the Zoom environment. So
thank you, Angela. So do mentors receive special training from the club? And any of our panelists can dive in.
I'll dive in. We don't have any special training. I mean, the 3 of our mentors are DTM, so obviously they're experienced people. As I said, I've gone through the Pathways mentoring program, and I've also done mentoring training at work. So I think, you know, I've done that, and I'm sure Angela's got her own experience, but we don't do anything specific. And I think perhaps this is an opportunity for us going forward as we get more new people coming through the mentoring program, that we do talk to our VPE and do some more structured training, because we've got that cadre of people who are, you know, like I said, DTMs and so on. But nevertheless, I think there's an opportunity for us to do more formal training for the new mentors that are coming through.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Now, do our audience have any questions at the moment? I've not seen any hands go up for a while, and you're welcome to add. Andrea, I see your hand go up, so please would you ask your question to the panelists? You might want to unmute yourself first.
Thank you, Madam Panel Moderator. Elizabeth mentioned something before, which was about new members choosing a pathway initially. So if you're the mentor and you're not sort of feel expert on giving that advice to them on how to choose a pathway to begin with, what would you advise?
I would advise finding someone in the club. No, first of all, I would speak to the VPE, because VPE has an overview of our education progress in the club, and see who has got the experience in the club that can advise the mentor. And I think this is where our club having a Pathways champion helps, because Pathways is, you know, the 11 paths, and you've got on the one hand, you've got the 2 that are very much geared towards communications, and at the other end, you've got ones that are very much into sort of detail leadership, and in between, you've got all the gradation. So you have to be able to explain that to the person and help them either go through the process or show them where the paths differ. And to me, what I always try to do is to find out, you know, what do you want to do? What's going on with you professionally? Because I mean, I know the paths quite well. So someone once said to me, they wanted to do like emotional intelligence, and there's only one path that does that. I mean, I work on global projects. So I knew I wanted to do leadership development because that's the only project that's got a time management piece. So when you know the difference in the projects or someone in the club, you can then advise them accordingly. And if they say to me, look, I just want to do speaking, there's no point having a long discussion. Presentation mastery, that's what they do. So it's just finding out what they want to do and then help them accordingly. I hope that answers.
Thank you. And I think knowing the specifics of the pathway, what speeches have you got in it?
Yes.
Knowing all of those. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Andrea, for your question. Now, I saw Tom's hand go up, so I think we have time for that question.
Okay, I know you're just running out of time, so I just wanted to highlight to everybody that in 2 weeks' time, we're in our division 24, or division 24, we're a division B, sorry, this area 24. We're doing club officer training, and I'm doing a stint on mentoring as part of that. So if anybody wants to get an overview of my version of mentoring and coaching and all that type of stuff, you can join. It's on Saturday week, the 19th, I believe it's on. So it's for Division B training. John Spillane is the division director, and he's asked me to do something on mentoring. I've done it before several times with different clubs in the division. So it might be something that people might be interested in joining. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, in fact, Sue and I will be at the same conference giving a presentation.
Okay.
On, not on mentoring.
That's right. No,
so we'll be in the audience.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, it's the headline is understanding the why, the what, and the how. So we'll be going through why you do mentoring, what it is mentoring, what it isn't. And there is, if you don't mind me saying so, there's a huge difference between coaching and mentoring, because I'm a qualified life coach as well, and it's different as chalk and cheese between the two. But that's just my opinion on it, right? We're hoping to change Toastmasters' opinion in the future. We're working on that. But yeah, it should be an interesting 20 minutes is all I have, right? But there will be questions and answers, and I will be providing some backup reading material for people as well to read afterwards. So it won't be a waste of time. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you, Tom. And I think that's probably all we have time for now. So I'd like you to put your hands together for our three panelists this evening: Elizabeth Jordan, Angela Sprigg, and our mentee Ratesh.
Okay, thank you very much, Sue, and the panel. Mentoring, as I said at the beginning, I think is so important. That's why I asked the question about embedding it in culture, because I think it's something which has got to go on from one year to the next. And it's interesting how we can do that. And it's a vast area, and I've learned a lot, and it's good to have the perspective of the VPE and the perspective of somebody who's a protege or mentee. And so I think that's been really good to see all that and how that works tonight, and how it is an ongoing process. It never stops. It is a big area, and thank you very much for all the work that you've done to prepare for that and deliver that. And I've written down the quote, Elizabeth, a brain to pick. That's going to be another one of my quotes. I shall forget who it's from, so I'll say Mark Twain said it, because he seems to have said everything. But thank you very much. And there are other COPs available as well as Division B. If you go on the district website, if you've got club officers or yourself haven't been to training yet, have a look there. There's still chance to attend a COT and contribute towards the point for your club before the end of February. Next week, we've got Sue back, and she's going to talk about developing a mindset for club growth. So please share that with your members. If we could just have a screenshot, if people don't mind. Videoing themselves. I don't know what the opposite to what the video bit of unmute is. Unvideo.
Switch your videos on.
Switch your videos on. I was trying to think of something technical, but never mind.
There could be a technical name for it.
I will now try and take it.
Cameras on. Cameras at the ready.
And smile, everyone. You're on camera. Now my computer says I have taken that, so I'll try and find that tomorrow morning and put it on Facebook. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. We are going on, as I said, we're carrying on with these Tuesday training sessions up to Easter, and we have got a packed agenda. So look out for Brenda's emails. I know some of you missed them. Please do check your spam as well. Brenda always sends out an email before the Tuesday to tell people what the next session is. So thank you very much for being here. I'm sure the panelists will be around for a few minutes if you've got any more questions you'd like to ask them. But otherwise, have a good evening, what's left of it, and I will see you next week. So goodbye, everyone.